Okay, everybody calm down. Click a like and subscribe. Do something. Don't just sit there. Today's episode going to be on how smells give away survival positions. So, let's go at it from a different angle. Let's try to be upbeat and positive and all that happy crap. Welcome back to the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, survivalists, bunker goblins, and those of you who are currently vacuum sealing rice while actually pretending society is held together by two raccoons and a loose extension cord. In the past, I've dragged you across the topic of noise discipline. I've dragged you across it a lot. So let's kick the shit out of something new. Let's come at this from another angle now. I think you're starting to get the idea about the noise discipline. I seriously doubt all of you are. I think some of you are taking it for granted, but I think I'm starting to get through to some people just based on emails and questions. So let's go over smell discipline. That's right. The biggest tactical failure may not be your noise, your light, or your lack of cardio after you bought your fifth chest rig. It may be the fact that your camp smells like bacon, coffee, wet dog, gasoline, possibly regret. A shocking number of people spend thousands of dollars on camouflage netting, camouflage apparel, camouflage everything, but they'll simultaneously cook canned chili that can be smelled from a low Earth orbit from their tactical position. This should be bringing back memories of me saying things like, eat your shit cold so the smell doesn't permeate. You remember that? People will obsess over thermal optics, EMPs, tactical tomahawks, titanium sporks blessed by wilderness monks, but they apparently believe smells just magically disappear because they're wearing olive drab cargo pants. They don't. Newsflash. Human smell, gear smells, cooking smells, soap smells, and that's right, your fear smells. Dogs can smell fear. If you're scared enough, I could probably smell your fear. If civilization ever collapses, some guy named Randy will absolutely follow the scent of beef stew directly to your hideout like a starving Labrador retriever with anger issues. So today, we're talking about how smells travel, what gives away your position, what people underestimate, and why your survival coffee station is basically a distress beacon. Now, you know me and coffee. Speaking of coffee, hold on. Oh my God, that's good coffee. You know me and coffee. You know how it's like my lifeblood. The truth of the matter is, in a tactical situation, I'm going to be drinking my coffee cold. I'll be mixing instant coffee and lukewarm water, and that's how I'm going to drink it in a tactical situation. Oh, let's just break this whole thing down. In the mythology of tactical fieldcraft, there are two things guaranteed to summon every living thing within a 5 square mile radius. The metallic click of someone dropping a magazine on a rock, and the hypnotic perfume of bacon detonating in a frying pan at sunrise. Add coffee to the equation, and the woods transform it into a giant aromatic telegram reading, "Attention everyone, Steve has decided stealth is now optional." Steve being the one making the bacon and the coffee. The question of how far cooking smells can travel in a wooded area is surprisingly complicated because scent behaves less like smoke and more like an invisible river. Under perfect conditions, odors from cooking can travel astonishing differences, especially in cool, damp forests where air movement is stable and scent particles remain concentrated. Hunters, trackers, wildlife biologists, and military personnel have all observed how food odors drift through terrain with eerie effectiveness. While exact distances vary wildly, cooking smells under ideal atmospheric conditions can often travel from several hundred yards to multiple miles away, and that is correct, multiple miles away. Triple canopy, overhang, you'd be surprised how much that traps the smells in. And if you got air blowing through there, it's just going to keep it in that canopy. Forests are scent amplifiers disguised as obstacles. At first glance, trees seem like they would block odors. In reality, woods create packets of stable air that allow scent to linger and drift slowly across terrain. Unlike open plains where wind scatters smells rapidly, wooded environments frequently trap odors beneath the tree canopy. Moisture clings to scent molecules, and cooler temperatures slow their dispersion. The result is an invisible fog of bacon grease and coffee vapor sneaking through the underbrush like a culinary ghost. Several factors determine how far those smells travel. Wind is the tyrant king of scent movement. A steady breeze can carry odors long distances, especially if it remains consistent in a direction and speed. Gentle winds between 3 and 10 miles per hour are often ideal for scent travel because they move odors without shredding them apart. Strong gusts actually reduce scent concentration because turbulence scatters molecules too widely. Yawn number 1. Humidity also plays a major role. Damp air acts like a delivery service for odor particles. This is one reason smells seem stronger in forests after rain or during cool mornings. Water molecules help trap and transport scent compounds through the air. Hunters often notice they can smell campfire cigarettes or cooking from surprising distances during humid dawn conditions. Dry air, by comparison, behaves like an unpaid intern throwing paperwork into a fan. Temperature layers create another strange effect called thermal inversion. Normally, warm air rises, carrying scent upward and dispersing it. During a thermal inversion, cooler air becomes trapped beneath warmer air, especially during early morning or evening hours. This acts like a lid on the atmosphere, preventing scents from escaping vertically. Instead, odors spread horizontally through the woods. Under these conditions, smell can travel extraordinary distances with enough clarity to make someone deep in the forest suddenly crave pancakes against their will. Man, I love pancakes. Almost as much as ravioli. Terrain matters as well. Valleys and hollows channel scent much like rivers guide water. Odors can drift downhill at night as cool air settles into low areas, ridges, and on the other hand, I digress. Ridges, on the other hand, may disperse smells more rapidly depending on wind exposure. Waterways also enhance scent movement because cooler, moist air tends to travel and follow streams and creeks, or for you hill folk, cricks. This explains why wildlife often detects human activity near campsites long before humans detect them. This type of food being cooked dramatically affects detection range. Bacon is practically chemical warfare against stealth. Its grease aerosolizes, that is a word by the way, aerosolizes into the air, carrying highly potent scent compounds. Coffee is similarly aggressive because roasting releases hundreds of volatile organic compounds that humans and animals can detect from impressive distances. Frying meat, onions, garlic, and sugary foods all produce strong airborne molecules capable of traveling far beyond what most people expect. Under excellent conditions, humans may detect campfire cooking smells from half a mile to over a mile away in a wooded terrain. Wildlife often performs far better. Bears possess olfactory capabilities that make bloodhounds look like amateurs with seasonal allergies. A bear may detect food odors from several miles away depending on conditions. Deer, coyotes, raccoons, even rodents can also identify cooking odors at substantial distances. Somewhere in the darkness, an entire committee of woodland creatures is holding a meeting entitled, "Who is frying bacon at 0600 hours and why are we suddenly emotional?" Military and survival professionals take scent discipline seriously for exactly this reason. Cooking creates one of the strongest signatures in the wilderness. Smoke, grease vapor, and aromatic compounds broadcast location information to humans and animals alike. In real tactical situations, fires are often avoided entirely or limited to carefully controlled periods. Even modern military rations are designed partially around minimizing detectable odors. While somewhere at a campsite, a man in multicam camouflage is proudly brewing artisanal dark roast espresso while insisting he is remaining low profile because of the money he spent on his outfit. Let me tell you, the forest disagrees. Interestingly, sound and smell often work together in perception. A distant cooking odor drifting through the woods causes people to become more alert to associated sounds. The faint smell of bacon may lead to someone suddenly noticing clanking cookware, quiet conversation, or chopping of wood. Human brains are excellent at connecting sensory clues. This is why even small camps can seem more detectable than expected. Ultimately, cooking smells in a wooded area can travel farther than most people imagine. Under ideal conditions involving cool temperatures, moderate humidity, stable winds, and dense forest cover, strong cooking odors may move well beyond a mile and sometimes several miles. Terrain, weather, food type, and atmospheric conditions all shape the outcome, but one truth remains eternal. If someone cooks bacon and coffee in a tactical environment, the entire forest receives the invitation. You see, here lies your problem. I'm out in the woods. I'm hungry. I don't have any more food. I smell this stuff cooking, coffee cooking, bacon cooking. I'm not just going to take your gear. I'm going to take your breakfast. I'm going to take everything you got. I might say thank you for cooking breakfast, but what was yours is now going to be mine. Thank you for the bacon and coffee. Moving on. Humans are giant odor factories. The first thing people forget, you are not scentless. You are essentially a leaking biological onion wrapped in fabric. Humans constantly produce sweat, skin oils, bacteria, breath odor, dirty clothing funk, stress chemicals, and enough weird smells to keep tracking dogs employed forever. Even clean humans smell. Stressed humans? Oh my God, yes. 10 times more in everything. Stress sweats smell completely different than normal sweat. Nature designed it that way because apparently evolution decided, let's make terrified mammals easier to locate. Outstanding design choice, nature. You know how people say, I'll just hide in the woods? Sure. They'll hide for about 14 minutes. Then the woods suddenly smell like beef jerky, bug spray, gun oil, nicotine, and a man who hasn't showered since Tuesday but insists he's operating tactically. Animals notice. People notice. Dogs definitely notice. There is a reason trackers throughout history relied heavily on scent. Meanwhile, modern survivalists spray themselves with pine scent deodorant and believe they have merged with the forest. Sir, you smell like a Christmas tree-themed chemical spill. Nothing else. Cooking is the worst offender. Nothing gives away survival position faster than cooking. Nothing. Nothing at all. Nothing gives you away quicker. You could whisper, black out your windows, move silently, hide your fire, but the second you fry bacon, the entire county suddenly develops an excellent navigation skill directing them directly to your location. Cooking odors travel ridiculously far, especially meat, anything with grease, especially coffee, especially garlic, onions, any kind of burnt food smoke, and anything basically that involves an open flame. Ever notice how neighbors magically appear during barbecues? That's not friendship. That's scent-based scavenging behavior. Now imagine that during a food shortage. Your little campfire spaghetti suddenly becomes the Hunger Games Alfredo edition. And coffee, oh dear God, coffee is basically morale perfume. One cup of coffee can psychologically summon exhausted humans from neighboring zip codes. Some prepper somewhere right now is saying, I'll never give up my coffee. Honestly, that's fair. However, you cook coffee in a survival situation, you're going to get what you deserve. Civilization may collapse, but caffeine addiction remains undefeated. The Great Bacon Betrayal. Let's specifically discuss bacon, because apparently no prepper gathering is complete without someone saying, if things go bad, I'm cooking bacon every morning. No, you're not. Unless your goal is to become a human air freshener labeled, come rob me. Bacon smell travels absurdly far. And unlike subtle odors, bacon actually triggers emotional responses. People don't merely smell bacon. They experience visions. You could lure grown adults into a swamp using bacon. There would be zero hesitation. Imagine starving people catching even a faint trace of sizzling pork fat drifting through cold air. Congratulations, you are now broadcasting your GPS coordinates in meat format. Honestly, bacon may be less a food and more edible emergency flair. Fire and smoke discipline. Now let's discuss smoke because people love campfires. Humans see flames and instantly become cave people with emotional support marshmallows. Smoke travels. Smoke lingers. Smoke sticks to clothing, gear, shelter, hair, and your soul. A campfire smell can remain detectable for hours, and some woodsmen can clearly identify fresh smoke, old smoke, wet wood smoke, pine smoke, even cooking smoke. Meanwhile, modern campers create enough smoke to alert aircraft. You ever see someone start a fire with wet wood? Looks like a tire factory exploded. Sir, the forest now thinks a steam locomotive crashed nearby thanks to your wet wood fire. That's very accurate, actually. If stealth matters, use small fires. Use dry wood. Use Dakota fire holes. Limited cooking periods. And minimizing smoke is very critical. But no, people insist on building Viking funeral pyres to heat canned ravioli. Oh, canned ravioli. Coffee, the tactical liability. I know I mentioned the coffee already, but it deserves its own section because preppers are emotionally dependent upon it. Present company definitely included. Coffee smell carries incredibly well, especially fresh brewing coffee. There's a reason every campground smells like a frontier cafe at sunrise. People can identify coffee instantly. Even exhausted humans, half frozen in sleeping bags, suddenly whisper, "Is somebody making coffee?" It's primal. Coffee doesn't just smell good. It announces comfort, warmth, resources, civilization. In desperate situation, that becomes dangerous. Of course, if society collapses completely, coffee may become more valuable than gold anyway. At some point, the apocalypse will simply become Mad Max, but everyone's fighting over espresso beans instead of gasoline. Soap, detergent, and Mountain Breeze nonsense. Now, let's talk about hygiene products. Modern soaps and detergent are absurdly strong. Mountain Breeze, Spring Rain, Ocean Mist. You're going to smell like a candle walking around in the woods. You know, one of them bathroom candles, whatever the hell they are. Natural forests do not smell like Arctic lavender thunderstorm. Animals notice synthetic smells immediately. Humans do too, especially in rural areas where artificial scents stand out. The heavily perfumed detergent. Congratulations. You now smell like suburban panic. That's why hunters often use scent-free products. Meanwhile, survivalists wash clothing in enough fragrance to stun wildlife at 40 yards. And don't even get me started on body spray. Nothing says elite tactical operator like Axe body spray. Cigarettes are basically signal flares. If you smoke during a survival situation, your stealth rating immediately drops to Campfire Raccoon. Cigarette smoke is incredibly recognizable. It clings to, are you ready? Here's the list. Clothing, hair, shelters, gear, vehicles, backpacks, and nearby dimensions. Even non-smokers can detect it instantly. And smokers, you're not fooling anyone. No smoker in human history has successfully hidden the cigarette smell. Not one. No one. You can even smell it when you're watching a movie. If somebody's smoking in a movie, you trigger and you can smell it. In your mind, you smell that cigarette smoke. People walk inside after smoking and say, hey, you can barely smell it. No, the truth is you smell like a haunted casino carpet. Now imagine that scent drifting through cold night air during a crisis. That smell travels, and it travels consistently. Nicotine addiction may genuinely become a survival liability, a terrifying sentence for many, many people. Yep, some listeners just clutch their emergency carton of cigarettes defensively. I hate to say it, but pets can ruin everything. I love dogs, but dogs smell. Some smell heroic, some smell ancient, some smell like they've been marinating in creek water on poor decisions. Pets create fur scent, wet scent, food scent, barking, movement, and additional biological chaos. Dogs are fantastic for security. They are less fantastic for remaining hidden. And dog food, holy shit. You gotta be kidding me. Dry kibble has one of the most recognizable smells on earth. You're opening a bag and suddenly every animal within 3 counties flies a notification flag up, dinner is served. Cats are quieter, but they are also occasionally decide, tonight I scream at invisible demons. Cats will give you away. Cats are horrible. They don't even take them tactical. It's one of those things where it's like, oh shit, we got to go tactical. Mr. Kitty, goodbye. Excellent operational security there, Mr. Whiskers. Man, I love my cat. I mean, she's a pain in the ass, but if we had to go tactical, I think I'd leave a couple bags of cat food out, a couple gallons of water out, and wish her luck. Garbage management. Garbage discipline matters far more than people think. Food waste smells, packaging smells, cans smell, wrappers smell, rotting scraps smell, everything about it smells. Improper waste disposal can attract animals, insects, desperate humans, and possibly cryptids. Honestly, if Bigfoot exists, he's probably just following people who left tuna cans everywhere. Trash management in survival situations is huge. Remember me talking about crashing down your cans and burying them? Yeah, no bullshit. I know what I'm talking about. Because eventually your hidden camp starts smelling like a gas station dumpster in August. And let's be honest, many people already struggle with trash management before civilization collapsed. You've seen some garages. Humanity isn't ready. The smell of fear. Now here's something fascinating. Humans may actually detect fear chemically. Not like shark sensing blood from 10 miles away in the water, but stress absolutely changes body chemistry. People under fear stress differently. They sweat differently. They breathe differently. They move differently. They smell differently, and animals definitely pick up on it. Dogs can sense anxiety very well, which means during survival situations, your emotional state may literally affect your scent profile. That's horrifically inconvenient because now panic attacks have downloadable scent, DLC. Fantastic. Vehicles also smell. You think you're going to ride out the apocalypse in a vehicle? Don't forget. Your vehicle produces massive odor signatures: gasoline, diesel, hot engines, oil, rubber, and exhaust. A running vehicle can most oftenly be smelled before it's seen, especially ATVs, generators, older trucks, and poorly maintained engines. And generators, oh boy, don't get me started on generators. A running generator during collapse condition basically says, hello strangers, we still have electricity and probably can't beat you. Generators create noise, heat, smell, and envy. The four horsemen of a tactical stupidity. Wind changes everything. Wind is king. Smells travel differently depending on humidity, terrain, temperature, tree cover, valleys, rain, and airflow. Cold air carries scent long distances. Valleys can trap odors. Dense forests can redirect airflow unpredictably, meaning your hidden camp may smell invisible 1 hour and like sausage apocalypse the next. Nature is rude like that. This is why we experience outdoorsmen pay attention to wind constantly. We really do. We don't eat anything that's going to give us away. I'll eat crackers for 3 days before I eat, something with a smell that's going to give me away. Even a nominal smell signature, it's not going to happen. That's why, like I said, I'll drink my coffee cold and I'll deal with it. Meanwhile, average campers just stand there holding hot dogs like confused idiots. It's like I'm okay. I can give you. Let's do this. I remember when I was teaching the C4 course in Camp Bullis, Texas, and we were supposed to be tactical. Even in the rear where the field hospital was, there was 2 nights when they were supposed to be tactical. We didn't have to shoot a back azimuth. We didn't even have to try to figure out where we were heading in opposing forces to find the field hospital to attack. We could see the candles flickering, and we could smell the lavender in a desert type environment. Their idea of being tactical was turning off flashlights and everything and using candles, lavender scented candles. Now these were officers, highly trained, highly schooled medical officers that had just gone through some tactical training, and their idea of being tactical still was burning candles that smelled like lavender. So these were military personnel that are supposed to know better, and they gave their position away with lavender candles. Can you imagine what the weakly trained, non-trained, or whatever trained personnel are going to do in the woods if they don't pay attention to what they're doing? You got those people that refuse to eat food cold or out of the can. They have to heat their meals up. Bunch of prima donna sissies. They don't belong in the field. If you know somebody like that, don't even go camping with them. They're gonna give you away, and it's not just in the time of crisis. If you're out camping, okay, and you got a couple of those guys that watch the YouTube video and think they want to go out camping or ghost hunting or whatever, and they realize after they're out there that one bottle of water and the small bag of beef jerky isn't going to last them all night. If they smell your food or your coffee or see your fire, they're coming looking for water and shit. And here comes Joe and, Kevin don't know any better, want to use your shit and take your shit. And now all of a sudden you got two people hanging out that you don't want there. That's what I'm saying. You need to practice this shit all the time. Back to the podcast. Hunting lessons preppers ignore. Hunters understand scent better than most survivalists. Hunters watch wind, reduce odors, avoid contamination, manage clothing carefully, and think constantly about scent trails. Because animals live by smell, and humans under stress often do too. But many preppers skip this entire concept because they're busy deliberating which tactical shovel best represents masculinity. Gentle reminder, the enemy may smell your soup before they see your bunker. Bad food storage. Improper food storage creates odor leaks consistently, especially canned food residue, grease, open containers, pet food, spices, dried meat, fermenting foods. Ever smell one tiny tuna packet after opening? That thing could summon bears with military precision. And some people plan to store hundreds of pounds of food with 0 scent control. Outstanding. Nothing says stealth like mysterious bunker smelling faintly of chili powder and spam. False security of remote locations. People think remote equals invisible. No, it doesn't. Remote just means fewer witnesses when you do something stupid. Odors still travel, smoke still rises, humans still investigate unusual smells. In fact, remote areas make smells more noticeable because there's less background contamination. A single cooking fire in deep woods stands out dramatically, especially during cold weather. You know what humans do when they smell food unexpectedly? They investigate. Every single time. Human curiosity has survived every civilization in history. So practical smell discipline. So what actually helps? Basic stuff. Minimize cooking odors. Don't cook. Avoid large fires. Don't use a fire if you don't absolutely have to. Store trash properly. I've talked about that many times. Use scent-free hygiene products. Control smoke. Well, if you don't start a fire and you don't smoke cigarettes, you don't have to even control the smoke. Ventilate shelters. Why I love a lean-to. Avoid strong detergents. Nope. I wash my shit in clean water when I'm going to the woods, and that's it. No detergents at all. Limit unnecessary fuel usage. Yeah, I'm going to be humping it with the big black Cadillacs, meaning boots. Probably not going to be taking anything using gas too far into the woods. And you got to manage pet food carefully. Dog food will bring a man, I'm tired. Dog food will bring a bear in from 5 miles away. Perhaps most importantly, stop pretending you're invisible because you bought camouflage clothing. You're not. Camouflage helps visibly. It does not help magically disable your chili odor. You're not a stealth ninja. You are a warm mammal carrying soup. In conclusion, at the end of the day, survival isn't just about guns, gear, gadgets, or owning 12 tactical flashlights bright enough to interrogate satellites. It's about understanding reality. And reality is, humans leave signs, tracks, noise, heat, trash, and smells. A truly skilled outdoorsman understands that nature notices everything. Meanwhile, modern humans often believe if I can't smell myself, nobody can. This logic has doomed many camping trips and probably several marriages. So the next time you're building your survival plans, remember, your greatest weakness may not be lack of ammunition. It may be the fact that your hidden camp smells like bacon grease, instant coffee, wet socks, and tactical disappointment. I hope I don't got to beat you up too much on this. So we've already talked about noise discipline. Now we talked about smell discipline. What do we got next? Light discipline. Yeah, light discipline, I think. We'll cover that probably next, if not 1 or 2 episodes down the road. Y'all watch your 6 and peace out.